Well, welcome you guys. Thank you for being on time for our elevation call. As you know, it's Lisa and Hal. This is our really check-in. It's our bi-weekly meeting to really help lift, support, and mastermind with you guys. We learn more when we lock arms together. And just traditionally, we always review the leaderboard. There's a lot of lessons from the leaderboard. This is kind of the fastest moving part of our business right now. And Hal, I'm going to have you kind of recap enrollments and personal volume before we get started.
Yep. So enrollments, which is how really we measure, that's how we measure growth in the business. Enrollments mean new people have been introduced to Zilis, to the products, to Better Health, and for those who want to generate income, that as well. And so new enrollments on a weekly basis, we recognize, and then Zilis also recognizes that. And so they've created a leaderboard, international leaderboard. And on the leaderboard, there's people from Germany this week, there's people from Costa Rica, Colombia, all over Latin America. And but we have a few people on the leaderboard on our team. So let's talk about who those people are. So Suzanne Levere, is that how she's on the,
She's just joined us.
All right, there she is. I see her. And so there's a story you're going to hear about her a little bit later tonight. But she's actually at number 11 in the company on enrollments up to this point here in October. So congratulations. And then Hal and Lisa kind of snuck in here at number 6. I went and played golf a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys there said, "Hey, tell me about your CBD." And, so I said, well, the best thing I can do is like tell you a little bit my story and then introduce you to Lisa. And Lisa's, anyway, that's that. But so we're number 6 for now. So pass us up, you guys, you can run past us. And then on volume, we also have, who is this? Dr. David Kokenauer in Kansas, who's a sleep doc, is at number 19. And speaking of sleep docs, at number 5, Steve and Jenny Todd down in Florida on the volume of personal purchase volume for this month so far. So, and
Dr. David Kokenauer is probably a name that you guys have not heard of before, but it's very interesting. When I was living in Indiana, when I don't know how many years ago, but he was one of my neighbors. And when I found out that Stephen Todd was a sleep doctor, I actually connected the two of them and they became friends. And Stephen Todd signed up Dr. David Kokenauer, and his business is sleep practice. But, the pandemic's happened. I haven't really talked to him myself. And so he's buying some product for his practice. So I think that's it's
always cool when you have a team that a name pops up on the leaderboard, especially on the volume side, for someone you haven't seen or heard from in a while, especially someone who has a practice where they in some way, or a store or something, where they have the opportunity to encounter people and share the product with them. You don't reorder this product in volume unless other people are interested in it at that level. So it's really cool. It's encouraging. It says a lot about the product, really, more than anything, and the person, sometimes who's sharing it still. But mostly, I think it shows the efficacy or the continued work of the product in people's lives.
And one of the ways, as you are just learning about how to build this distribution channel, that you can kind of study like who is moving the business forward just by looking at the leaderboard. And so on the personal volume side, when I was looking at the top 20 in the leaderboard, it was interesting to see that we have retail nutrition stores that are ordering. There are several different types of doctors, urology, pain management. Some of the top leaders, some of the diamonds that we really don't hear a lot about, are ordering a lot of product. They still do retail. People who sell online, and also veterinarians. Speaking of veterinarians, Monday's Freedom Call, we're going to have focus on animals and CBD use in animals, and there will be vets and animal professionals on the Freedom Call Monday. So definitely want to make sure
it's a great time to tune in if you yourself has an animal that you love and adore, or someone that does. So, like raise your hand if you have an animal that you love and adore. See, look at all those hands going up. And then raise your hand if you know people who have their own animals. There we go. So it's a call for everyone, obviously. So pets, it's a pet call.
It's a pet call, and that's a really cool thing. And then the other thing I wanted to do is just, we look at the enrollment leaderboard, because these come from people who are enrolling either with the adventure pack. If you don't know what that is, it's a $199 with all the benefits of the bronze membership. And for October only,
special this month,
but everywhere from the $199 all the way up through gold. And they actually do a calculation of the volume of the enrollment. And that's really kind of what weights the rankings. So the people at the top have the most volume and the most enrollments as a weighted score. But we have a newcomer, Suzanne, who is on the leaderboard, and I don't know if this is the first time for her, but it's close to the first time. And so it's really fun for us to kind of tell a little bit of the story about Suzanne, and then introduce her to you guys so you get to know her as well. She's just an amazing person. And this story started quite a while ago, but it started with Kristen. And we've talked to Kristen and Eric as well. They've been in the business for years, and Kristen just had a shift in her mindset. She made a decision that she was going to build this, with or without anyone else. And she had been in touch with a wonderful friend. It's kind of a mutual friend of both of ours, Wendy Berman, in the Northern California area. And she was going out of town, but she said, hey, let's kind of mastermind with Lisa. We did a call together. Kristen was not on that call, but she decided to join our business. And Wendy has been a force to be reckoned with. She's amazing. I knew she was going to be amazing. But one of the best things she did was introduce us to the lady who she's actually living with. And she's her roommate. She owns the home that Wendy is in. And she's a marriage and family therapist. So she has a code of conduct. She's an amazing professional. And so when Wendy introduced me to Suzanne, Suzanne made it very clear that she wasn't interested in selling anything. And so with that, I want to bring Suzanne on the line. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that from anyone before, but Suzanne, where are you? Can you unmute and let us just enjoy you?
Sure, there I am.
There she is. Suzanne, thank you so much for being on tonight.
Sure.
Well, I want you to tell everybody just a little bit about what you do and where you live.
Well, I live in Pittsburgh, California, and I'm a marriage family therapist. I work about 3 days a week, and I got into the products because Wendy turned me on to the Shield and the Glow, which I absolutely adore. Those are my two favorite items. And I just, after 3 days, I started feeling amazing. Like I noticed a difference in my skin right away. I'm 72 years old, guys.
What? What?
And so I noticed that right away. And then I just noticed that I just had this incredible sense of well-being that I couldn't really attribute to anything else. So I had energy, and I'm a pretty energetic person anyway, but I've gone through some big old health problems in this past year, and I just started feeling really great. The other thing that happened for me was that about 6 years ago, I had breast cancer, and I'm on an anti-cancer drug, and I have not slept literally since I went on that drug, but it keeps cancer away, right? So I stayed on it. But what I noticed after 3 or 4 days of taking the Glow and the Shield, I was sleeping every night, and not only sleeping, but having the most incredible long movie-like type dreams. It was pretty amazing. So, I have a family of sisters that are very skeptical, but they're believing me now. And I guess the way I got started, I really am not a salesperson, but I just started telling people how I was feeling. And people want that.
Well, it's been really, really fun just to kind of watch the transition in you, Suzanne. I'm going to let Wendy comment on that as well. But one of the things that, you learned really early on, and Wendy really modeled this, is that she just put you on the phone or Zooms with me or with Kristen. And, we did a lot of things kind of as a mastermind, if you will. And so you have just become a new associate, and we are all wanting to
Tell them
congratulate
what
you.
that means. Remind people what that means.
And so an associate is someone who has an active auto ship, and it could be anywhere from wholesale all the way to gold, but an active auto ship as a user of product on both the right and the left leg. So that means you have at least 2 personally sponsored. And so how did you do that, Suzanne?
With a lot of help from you guys.
Right.
I don't know. I just started talking. Initially, when I signed on as a gold ambassador, and when I first did that, I got all this product, and I'm like, oh man, what do I do? And so I thought of like 12 people in my close circle, and I sent them out these little gifts. Initially I sent out 5 glow and 5 shield and a little pot of the magic cream. And then I went on vacation for almost 2 weeks. And when I got back, I started talking to the people that I had given it to. And so that's how I did it. So.
Well, and you know, one of the things that I really appreciated, Suzanne, you've been really super coachable. And so you just text me and say, hey, you know, are you available to do a Zoom or to do a call? And you literally just introduce me, and then you mute yourself and you just let me talk to your friends and family. You've been really, really very effective with that. And, you know, it's just a great lesson that this doesn't really have to be complicated.
Right.
And you've just, you know, helped several people that I think are really going to have a benefit. And we're just super, super proud of you.
Thank you.
So I want your sponsor, Wendy, to come on and just, so Wendy, has Suzanne been very difficult?
Absolutely. No. Well, what I love about Suzanne is she's a straight shooter, and from the get-go, she's like, I'm not a salesperson. But you know, and I don't force that on anybody, you know, like, you know, a lot of times in the past, I may have been like, well, everybody's a salesperson, but that's not what Suzanne wants to hear. And I think one of the calls we had with you, Lisa, helped put that to rest a little bit. And then I think Suzanne, if maybe I'm speaking for you, but the light bulb kind of went off or on, or whatever, however you want to say it, when you just started sharing your story. And then also, like, in your dentist's office, they were like, you look amazing. Like, what's going on? And we've noticed she had great skin before, but with the glow, that was, she actually is glowing. You can see her, you know? So, and quite honestly, when I was talking to Suzanne about it, we're such good friends, and we mastermind all the time about stuff. And, you know, and then it just piqued her interest, and it kind of went from there. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to target Suzanne and chase after her or anything like that. That probably would have scared her away. And then just, you know, that's how it started. And being very coachable. It's the one thing is with the third party validation, you know, we aren't the experts here, you know, and that was one, I don't want to call it a mistake, but one of my obstacles in my previous life, if you will, was I wanted to be the expert and know it all. And it stalled me from moving forward. And now my favorite answer is, I don't know, but I'll get you the answer. Suzanne hears that from me all the time, and we figure it out together. So yeah.
Well, it's very exciting. And it all started with Kristen and Eric. And so, Kristen, I want to say congratulations to you for your vision, your persistence, and your continued belief that helped create this amazing team. And we now mastermind together, and you have a new associate. So now Wendy sponsored Suzanne. Suzanne is a new associate. And so Wendy, as she builds toward area, she needs another associate on the other side, and 10,000 in business volume in 1 month period in order to make area. And so that's kind of our goal, is to kind of help.
Area is the G bonus, just for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. So, so it's very exciting to see how this all builds, really, but it starts with just the belief that we have and just the consistent action as Suzanne described. And so we're really proud, Suzanne, and we thank you for rearranging your schedule to be on tonight to be able to share your story.
Thank you so much.
And yes, at some point you said, I would love to, yes. Wendy, tell us about Scooby.
Oh, She's
She's
putting
in
something
hiding.
together.
We know
She's
where
right
she is.
here.
Hi, Scooby.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
she's blurry. I like
We know where Scooby is.
well, it's Halloween time. It's my favorite. She's a ghost, actually. No, what I want to just say this past weekend, you know, Scooby just we started talking to her stepmom about our magic cream, which is for the new people. It's we call it magic cream. It's like ultracell cream topical. And we happen to have, I think you had some with you on you, didn't you?
Yeah, I brought mine.
She brought hers, which is important. I think I need to do that, is just carry products with me. And her stepmom put it on her, she's like carpal tunnel, and put it on there. And I think I had gone to the bathroom and I came back and Scooby's like, oh, I just sold 2. I was like, wait, what did you do? Yeah. And she's like this grin on her face that she gets like, yeah, I sold 2. But it was just from sharing her story. I mean, it started with my shoulder, rubbing it on my shoulder, talking to Lisa going, wait, is this too good to be true? And then Scooby's got arthritis in her lower back, and she's my picky girlfriend that has tried everything. And within minutes, it helped her arthritis in her back. And so just telling that story and having that sample, and then her stepmom, her daughter owns a pet service, and they're really into CBD and this and that. So I think it's going to evolve into something really special, you know. And Scooby's super coachable too. You know, she's got a full-time job and trying to fit this in, you know, the nooks and crannies, you know, of her day. And as a partner, you know, I let her know, like, I'll help follow up with people because I can spend a little bit more time on this. So, but yeah, so I just wanted to give her a shout out too.
Way to go, Scooby. Awesome. Awesome. And
Yeah.
Scooby's the one that came up with the name Magic Cream.
She didn't know what else to call it. She just been calling it. She just named it that. That was just awesome.
So Scooby, you get all sorts of kudos and points. So we're super proud of you. Keep up the good work. You guys
It
are
is
really
magic cream.
Yeah.
It, it works some magic, right? When you're out there and you don't know what to do and you're in pain, why not? I want to know if it works on women's cramps though, but I don't have those. So we got to figure that out.
Well, you know what? Honestly, obviously we can't make claims, but with a combination of internal and external, just rubbing it on the pelvis and taking the, cannabinoids fueling the
Especially
system. We've heard a lot of testimonies about menstrual cramps with helping all sorts of
Oh, it's my sister that.
aspects of that. And we do know from, we have an OBGYN that works with our team that the organ that has the most CB2 receptors is the uterus. So that's your fact
Which
for the day.
CBG is that cannabinoid that really impacts the CB2 receptors. So when he heard about CBG coming out, that's when he educated us, being an OBGYN, Dr. Phillips, Pat, who we're talking about.
Yeah, Pat brought him
Introduced
into
Dr. Phillips. Just kind of like that's where that's where the largest count on CB2 receptors are.
Yeah.
So
guys, thank you so much for that. I feel like I learn better by real world experiences. And, this is where we're talking about the mastermind, is that people are universal, and the issues and the benefits that Wendy and Scooby and Suzanne and Kristen are seeing are universal with your world as well. So we want you guys to hear from them, and we appreciate them sharing that. But we have kind of 2 more things. And one of the second thing I really want to hear from you guys on. But the first thing, a lot of times as I kind of read and meditate, and Hal and I have a spiritual practice, I read a lot. I have mentors that I follow, and sometimes a quote will really stand out. And I want to share a quote that really stood out, and it made me really think about it. And I want to kind of share with you guys how it affected me. But here's the quote. And there's a guy, to give credit, his name is Tim Denning, and he is an entrepreneur, really successful guy. And so I'm somehow on his email list. But one of those things where I'm like, maybe I should just unsubscribe. So I start reading his emails, and they're really, really good. And so I thought, he's somebody that I really want to read his email every single day that I get one. And so here's the quote, and you can kind of write this down, or you can just kind of consider this. But the most addictive drug, and I wrote this on Elevation and our little teaser, the most addictive drug is making money doing something you love. And so I kind of want you to just kind of consider that in your mind. So, the way my mind worked on this was, of course, it caught my attention, the most addictive drug, because people think we're drug dealers anyway, but not to make light of being addicted to a drug. I could really relate to this. And so instead of making money, I thought back to the 13 years that I was in my first business. And I was kind of shifting from fitness and health to being introduced to the whole world of network marketing for the first time. And so the people who recruited me into that business were all about, look, you can make $1 million, you're going to buy my new truck, like it was all about making money. And I'm a nurse. And so that I heard it, but it wasn't what really drew me into that business. And I was a little bit annoyed by the business model. I was a little bit annoyed by the fact that I couldn't find information from mentors. I had to fly myself all the way to Utah to get information. I mean, I'm like, who does that? Like, why would you have to fly all the way? And so I was kind of had some attitude. And yet what happened to me is I started taking a product that made a big difference in my health. And so the very first part of making money, which I believe is wealth. It's not about making money. This is how you define wealth for you. And as a former ICU nurse, I believe health is our very first wealth. Part of the reason I'm passionate about that is because I lost my mom when I was 27 years old. She was 54. And that was a very painful lesson for me. It was 5 weeks before the birth of my first child. And so I never understood how an apparently healthy woman could get cancer and die within a year. And with a cancer that really, the average, length of life is 8 to 10 years. So that nutrition business was really important to me because it not only gave me an immediate feeling of health, I felt like I had more energy. I didn't have my allergies kind of went away. So I had some things that I could really tell I was doing something different. But as I learned about nutrition, its role, and felt like I could kind of relax into having some health protection, I felt like I had more health freedom. And so first it was health, then it was health freedom. And then as I started sharing that story with other people and started being able to generate some income, I was flying back and forth to Utah to collect information. And I started realizing that I had more lifestyle freedom. Slowly through tax savings, because I had this new business that was actually had a lot of tax benefits. And it took me really years and years and years and years to generate what I thought was a significant amount of income. And looking back, it was pretty average, but it was enough for me to actually live on. 13 years in that business. So it started at health, became health freedom, and that became a lifestyle freedom combined with tax benefits that ultimately became income. And I had a mentor that when I was complaining about the business model and saying, I don't understand why I can't learn this, why I have to go live, fly all the way to Utah and have somebody teach me. Of course, the world is different now, but at that time, that was really how they taught everybody how to do this. And he goes, you'll really never fall in love with a business until one significant thing happens. And I said, well, what is that? And he said, and you're going to really probably not really like this business model until you make your first $10,000 check. And then you're going to fall in love. And I have to tell you, so 13 years in that business, I've never had that experience of making a $10,000 check until I was introduced to Zilis. And, we kind of rode a wave. We rode the first wave of CBD back in that business. And it was, kind of prior to the Farm Bill passing, was an experience I'll never forget, because I saw how this comp plan worked so much better and so much faster than that previous business, which also still worked. And so when I heard this quote, and I thought about all the hard work it took in that first business and how we did it so much faster in this Zilis business, I wanted to share it with you guys to kind of suggest to you that, the pandemic has changed a lot for all of us. Really, it has. I mean, it's changed the world. It's changed the way people think. And a good thing, now we can do Zoom and we can really, it's easier for us to get information, to give information. And that's a beautiful thing. But if it takes longer for us to really create that very significant income, if we've developed health, if we've developed health freedom, if we've developed lifestyle freedom, if we've helped save $5,000 to $10,000 a year or more in taxes, it's a win, guys, as we learn along the way. And so Hal, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I think it will fit to this part of the message. Say it again.
So the most addictive drug is, he says, making money. I say creating wealth, doing something you love.
So creating wealth is, you said health, financial, enough finances to support yourself at least, if not more.
Right.
So that would be considered a package of wealth. But what I know though from you that you didn't mention, that I see evidence of right here as a part of it, as well as what we saw this last weekend at your 40-year reunion, to me, the greatest wealth any of us has is our relationships. And that's always the way it's been, and it's probably always the way it's going to be. And so when you see what you're doing, helping other people that you already have relationships with, or you are developing relationships with through the people that you have relationships with, that is that to me is a big part of the addictive nature of this business. And we saw that this weekend at your reunion. So it was Lisa's reunion we went to this weekend, 40th, and I'm older than her, so I knew a few of the people, but most of them I didn't really know. But I can tell you, after Friday night and Saturday spending time with them, I left there feeling wealthier. Like my bank account in relationships was increased. And I think what we offered to people there increased their bank account, their relationship bank account as well. We went to everything. And so part of the reason that I enjoyed it so much was that the people who've known Lisa all these years, and many of them have just kept up by way of Facebook for the most part at best, we engaged in life with, and we literally left there with people saying, please get back to me. My husband needs your product. Please get back to me. I need your product. And it was just, and we weren't there to talk about it. I mean, we tried not to talk about it. And yet people, and so to me, that was that's kind of addictive. I mean, that kind of stuff, when you feel that and see that, that is addictive. That's the quote, but it's something different than, addiction. It's just, it's wonderful. So anyway, that's the only thing.
What I want to say on that note, you have to ask yourself, what do you love about Zilis? What do you love doing? And what Hal and I love is really helping people. We love gaining new relationships with people. We love being in a relationship with you guys. We love helping people solve health problems. That's really my passion. And so it just honestly, in this business, it just gets better and better. Just like that first 13 years that I had in that previous business, I became more valuable the longer that I learned and stuck with it. And I promise that as you begin this journey and as you continue it, you will gain more power.
One more thing about true wealth. True wealth is I think consistent. For example, if a person has true health and their finances go backwards, but they are mentally and emotionally wealthy and they're spiritually wealthy, that's a time oftentimes that their emotional and spiritual bank account grows. Literally, your finances can go down. And if you are truly a wealthy person, like fully rounded wealthy person, your relationships will increase. Your spiritual understanding will increase. Sometimes the more that we make money, the lazier we get tuned into ourselves, and some of those other things drop off. They go down. So again, it's not always about the financial part. When we say it gets better and better and better, everything is seasonal and cyclical in relation to that. So one of the beautiful things I think about this kind of business is that it's such a well-rounded approach to what wealth is. And anyway, so that's
I
all.
love that. Well, so we're going to just kind of take a little pause here, and then I want to open it up to you guys here in just a minute. So if you want to make a note of what we just talked about, it's just, I love to hear your views on that in terms of your own, whether you agree with that statement, if you agree about being addicted to really creating wealth with something you love. But the second quote that I was introduced to as well this week that I thought about, it really kind of made me pause, was nobody cares about your story until you win. Nobody cares about your story until you win. And so I kind of started, I thought, do I agree with that or not? And so what I'm asking you guys is, within the Zilis business, how do you define a win? And I just, you guys feel free to raise your hand or just unmute, but I want to hear, and I think Christina had some wins this weekend. So maybe Christina, I can pick on you first while everyone else is thinking.
Yeah, so we had a 2-day vendor show this weekend, and I went through and have already categorized everybody to fit them in the list. We got about 60 people that turned in and their contacts. It was interesting on Saturday because people just walked up, and normally I feel like I need a neon sign for our $200 gift card giveaway that we do for Travel Now as a kind of raffle to get some of those numbers up on those. But yesterday people just walked up and just kind of tossed them in there and really kind of looked. This was the first show that I added the packs together to. They kind of went over, they kind of didn't, but I think it's more with presentation. So I know what I need to do a little bit more next
Hey,
time.
Christina, what do you mean? What did you do with the packs? Like, what are you talking about?
So I took 10-day packs of Shield Glow. Some of them I did in 5 packs, even 30 packs of coffee, broke coffee down the same way. I used our big topical, our small topical, but I went to the store and I got just coffee mugs and some journals, some little massaging tools, and I just kind of added our products to those to make them individual little gifts, and put them in bags and arrange them so they were kind of neat. Yeah, there you go. Chris got one. So this is just this was a simple one. This was just, I put a 5-pack or a 4-pack of coffee in there, and one of our little Swiss mix, because that's the way I like my coffee. It's the mocha with the Swiss mix and 1 pack of coffee. It's like perfect without sugar for me. So that's just the way I do it in the morning. So I kind of mix that. We did probably 6 different containers, carafes of coffee over the weekend. We did the mocha and also just vanilla latte, or the French vanilla. I get the cappuccino mix and we mix it in with it to kind of just give it that different flavor. And people really, really loved that. They didn't really have to think about it. But you can still taste the coffee in it, but it gave them an idea in their head that, hey, I can do that too. Really easy. So people were buying coffee left and right with that this weekend. I think we made about $550 this weekend. That makes about 700 for the week, a little over.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 700 this week in retail. So it's just been a really big week. But the lady behind us, she made homemade dog treats. That's what her and her husband were there doing. And she listened intently like the whole weekend. She continued to ask questions. She looked over a couple hours after it first started. She's like, hey, do you have anything I can read while I'm sitting here kind of bored? And I tuned her into Facebook on Team Unlimited Learn, but she didn't. And I didn't even think, do I have my book in here? The red one? I put together a book. It's my Zilis book, but it's got the hemp project slides in it at the beginning. And then all of our products, the product info flyers I have in there. So she took this and literally like flipped through it over a couple of hours. By the end of the weekend, she was asking me, she actually wanted to buy just a sample pack of things. But whenever we talked about the adventure pack option for the month, she wants to talk on Tuesday about coming into that. She actually works as a pharmacist or in the pharmacy at Myers right now. She's went down to part-time because she really doesn't like what she does. She doesn't like the way she gets yelled at and just masking things to make things better. So I'm really excited to see what she can do in the business. But there were other people that have just been in business or know about Zilis that had other questions. But I heard more stories this weekend at that table over that coffee, honestly, than I have at any show that I've done over the last year. This is our anniversary month. So it was a really exciting show to kind of kick off the next year. Yeah, and we're going to be going to Dallas next month. Chris is for work. So I'm tagging along to go see corporate headquarters. So it's going to be, I'm excited to see what the next year holds, because I've learned so much this year, just what works, what doesn't work. And then just that's from all different avenues of life. So what Hal said about building the spirituality side of things, as well as that relationship side of things, I just pray all the time for God to just lead me to the people I need to be led to. And it honestly seems like every connection that I'm making these days, through whether it's networking groups or just the individuals that I'm meeting, their stories really kind of align with mine. So we really already have that connection when we start to talk. And I heard Kristen say it before, it's just that energy, right? It's that energy that you give out and that people have, that we just, that same energy just connects. And it's really been interesting over the last probably, I don't know, couple of months, really. It's kind of been leading to something, but everything's just kind of getting a rhythm, if you will. It's kind of got its own cadence now as it just continues to build. And it's really, I feel it inside of me, which has been really, really cool. So yeah, there's all that.
Awesome, Christina. Well, so you define a win as having successful retail sales, also really making those, I think you said 60 new contacts at the event, and then having people come kind of volunteer stories of, of their own. And then also you have several prospects, not just for product, but also for the business as well.
Yeah.
Based on your action of being there, investing in your future.
Correct. Chris looks at me and he's like, you don't really need me here. And I'm like, yeah, I do. He doesn't realize he told his story so many times over the weekend that really made people think, because over, last year at Christmas, he had a broken foot when he came to the Christmas party you guys were at Mary Ellen's, and his wrists were hurting so bad. That was his first time actually getting a dose of CBD, and me looking at him and going, look, it's not going to hurt you. Just take this, and shoving it in his mouth. And from then on, he's been taking CBD and everything every day. So his story is just as important, and he's learning that too. So it was a big win for the weekend.
Well, ask Chris if he will share that story with us sometime on Elevation.
Will do.
All right, Chris, we're gonna set you down. I'm gonna write it on my calendar. Awesome. Thank you, Christina. Does anybody else want to share? And this could be theoretically, or it could be something you've experienced, but just how do you define a win with Zilis?
Well, I'll share something. I didn't want to talk too much tonight if anybody else wants to go, but a couple weekends ago, I did an event with Hell's Angels. We had a booth there, which was a lot of fun. And I had my capture sheet with them, and spoke to this gal, Elizabeth. We're going to talk to her tomorrow. And quite honestly, when I first met her, I wasn't so sure about like business or anything like that. She had kind of like low energy, right? So I guess where I'm going with this, don't prejudge anybody. I think we've talked about that before, and she's interested in the business. And Lisa, you'll hear more about her story. What an incredible story. She's super young and really ambitious. But when I first met her, I was like, okay, I don't know, but she's really interested in her health. I didn't know that she would respond to my text. And honestly, I didn't follow up right away. That's another thing. Try to follow up as soon as possible. The event was a couple of weeks ago, and I normally will follow up like the next day, and I've just been busy. But she responded to my text today, and I got her on the phone as well, and asked about her, and didn't say too much about myself. I used to have the Me Too syndrome, like, oh, me too. But it's really hearing, her story, and the next steps are to, get Lisa on a call with her tomorrow. So yeah, I just want to share that with everybody tonight.
That's a great win. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think Lauren Lynch said, I think she's referring to either Wendy or Christina, maybe both. I want to be you when I grow up.
I typed that when Christina was talking.
Okay.
Oh, darn it. I thought it was me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Oh,
both
I-
of you, it's the events. That is, it makes me so excited to hear y'all talk about the events that you do. It is so far outside of my comfort zone that it makes me crazy to think about doing it myself.
Oh, you can do it.
Well, and Christina, can you speak to that at all? Has this ever been outside of your comfort zone?
Okay, yes, I will say all of it's been outside of my comfort zone. You always go into it not really knowing what to say. And that makes it, difficult in every way. Showing up to vendor shows, I've never done that before, and you just gotta just set up and do it. Lauren, we've talked before. You got to believe in yourself, girl. You got more in you than you think you do. You just got to believe in yourself.
So I
Thank
have a
you.
challenge on this. So go ahead. Sorry.
I just said thank you.
So I recently challenged someone to buy a book, and it's a book that I'm going back through again for myself, but also because I'm writing a book, and this is a part of my book, but I'm reworking it for myself. I think that this particular book would be good for many people to buy and not just read, but do the work in it. So I'm going to give you the name of it. You could probably find it on, I know you can find it on Amazon. You might find it in Thrift Books, which is a used book dealer. It's probably not going to be that expensive, but the name of it is Choosing Clarity. I'll have to give you the author's name in a second.
So Choosing Clarity is the name of the book. And
The author is Kimberly Giles, Giles. And, I can tell, for many of you who come or have a Christian faith, it'll fit well. It's not overly Christian, but there is definitely a basis of that. For those of you who are not, this book will fit well for you as well. But what I want to know is if anybody buys it and it comes in and you get it pretty quickly, I'd like you to let us know that you've got it. And I just think that we hadn't even talked about this, but and maybe it's because I'm going back through it, but it was so helpful to me a few years ago. And I think it will be helpful to you as well. And if we can somehow create a way to kind of communicate about it, maybe either in small group form or something, but anyway, we'll figure that out. We may not do that, but I really think if you'll do it and do the work, because she makes it very clear, don't buy the book if you're not going to do some of the writing, because you just have to write a little bit as you read through it. So don't buy it to just read it. Don't waste your money because it's not going to do you any good. You're going to have to do some work. But this conversation has prompted me to encourage that. So it's probably a $15 book. I don't know.
yeah, no, I think on Thrift Books it's probably cheaper than that. So anybody else want to share like what a win would look like for you guys?
I actually, okay, we are really moving slow at this point, but you know what? My win was the day that Mary Ellen introduced this product. And from that day till now, somebody came to our house and she's like, yeah, you used to be so confusing and now you can carry on a conversation. And my energy is up. I am healthier than I have literally been in my life. So I think that is a huge win. And that's what keeps me coming back. So
That's beautiful, Lorena. It's exactly what I was really talking about when you're talking about your health. And what I've seen in you and with Jean, you are a different person. You look different, you act different, you're a leader, you're positive. I mean, you're not anything close to what I first met when you started this business. You are
say that again.
I said you're a new person.
Oh, thank you.
A beautiful person. You've always been beautiful, but and Jean's always had good hair.
Yeah, and she's doing real well too with the glow. she went from a size 16 to a 6 now that she's in. So she's a whole new person.
Yeah, she lost a
So
whole.
kudos.
Hey, I want to ask you guys to do something, and I just remembered this. Zilis is looking to collect glow stories. So Lorena, I would love for you to volunteer your story for Zilis, because they, Zilis originally, this glow product was studied in weight loss, but not everybody has lost weight on it.
Right.
Some people have gained weight. And so your story is really, really important.
Oops.
Okay, I'll call you sometime later on in the week
Okay.
to, so you can help me through that process.
Awesome. Well said. Anybody else want to share about what a win would look like before we wrap?
I would like to.
Let's hear it, Kristen.
Okay, thank you so much. So I've got a couple things. One is really elevating my conversations and having contact with bigger business type people on Zoom and navigating through the slides with them. I'm looking forward to making some introductions there. And then also aligning myself with Wendy and what that means, and then supporting and working with Suzanne in that, and creating the team calls and navigating through things, and just that whole creating the culture and camaraderie through the week, which is again those building relationships. And then also with Yolanda.
I was
And
gonna say, you got something else.
Yeah,
going
why
on
don't you
there.
introduce Yolanda, Kristen?
yeah,
'Cause
and
that
then
would be a
also,
win.
She's still there?
also with aligning myself with Yolanda and doing three-way phone calls, which we've done, and we've got another one after the call tonight. And we'll be associate probably by, but we're spending the next couple of days. So there'll be another associate to introduce 2 weeks from today. But this is Yolanda. And Yolanda and I have been together for a number of years. She too, with Lisa and Wendy and some of the others on the call, have been in health and wellness together. And we have just aligned ourselves through the years in many, many ways. But what Yolanda brings to the table is, and I'll let her tell you a little bit more, is that she has she's nationally board certified in health and wellness, just recently focusing on diabetes, and so and more with Phyto Dental. And so that in a nutshell is what she brings to the table. And this is Yolanda, my good friend.
Hi.
Hey, Yolanda.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Hal. Hi, everybody. Wendy. Well, I guess a little bit about my story. I did get involved early in 2018, but I just continued to, be a product user. And like we know, timing is everything. So the timing is right, and I'm going to work the business. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you know what? I have to give Yolanda a shout out. When I was in Charlotte last weekend, she texted and said, "Hey, I have a friend I want to help, and I think if we could talk to her brother, who's a doctor, it would be helpful." And I thought, the chance of getting a three-way with a doctor are pretty small. So I really didn't have any faith in Yolanda that she could make that happen. And literally by within the hour, she put me on the phone with a doctor who is like PhD, he's highly educated and working in the phytocannabinoid space. We just had a delightful conversation. Yolanda was so poised. She introduced me and then she muted. And for 45 minutes, she never said a word while I was talking to that doc.
Yeah, Lisa got off the phone and goes, Yolanda is awesome.
She
knocked it out of the park and didn't say a word. It's like
she's amazing. So we expect a lot, Yolanda, from that amazing team. Flow with KO-Yo. Is that right?
Koyo flow. Yeah, it's the Koyo flow. We're going to be on our way to, where are we going tomorrow, Tuesday? We're getting ready to go to Oxford, Mississippi, share the story with family and friends. Definitely looking forward to bringing in another dentist. And that would be my daughter.
Awesome. Well, listen, we're excited, and those are all wins.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing, and thank you for introducing Yolanda. And I think Suzanne has her hand up. So Suzanne, what's a win for you, girlfriend?
Yeah, I just wanted to just briefly say the win for me has really been learning about all the information. I mean, I started yesterday morning at 8 a.m. and about 3 o'clock, I thought, wow, where'd this day go? You know, and I had signed a person and a bunch of other stuff had happened. But I guess when you were talking about the quote, the most addictive drug is making money doing something that you love. The way that that hit me was that, you know, when you exercise, you get endorphins. And what kept me going from 8 until 3 without realizing how long I had been doing it was the endorphins that it was creating in me. Just finding the information and being so excited. And yeah, that's it for me. So
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's a wonderful
That's
point.
that's a really good way of putting that.
It
I
really
get
is.
You know, I found that in writing just recently a couple of times in writing my book. I literally, Lisa would be calling me for dinner and telling me dinner's ready. And I'm like, I gotta, you know, I'm rolling here. I need to finish this little section. And, you know, I would definitely, my sense of well-being, which that endorphin thing was elevated in those moments. And I didn't want to stop in that. And then even this weekend with the people that wanted to know more, and literally it carried over to today because I went to one of my normal Sunday morning, you know, AA meetings. And had a guy in the parking lot goes, "Is that y'all's Jeep?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you still doing the CBD?" I go, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "I need to get some." And I said, "Well, which do you know?" I knew his situation. And he goes, "I don't need to know all about it. I just want to get some. Bring it tomorrow night." And so I was like, okay. So it carries over. It does carry over. So
does.
Thank you for sharing
thank
that,
you. Great
Suzanne.
story, guys.
Really great.
Yeah.
Cindy Alvarado.
Hey, I can't turn my camera on or I'll lose the whole Zoom meeting. So
That's
we
okay.
just have to do the picture. A win for me personally is the personal growth.
Yeah.
It's been decades to let me get to where I am now. And a lot of that is attributable to you guys. But the big thing for me, and I'm going to go mommy on you now, is Lauren Lynch is my daughter. And I have told her for years she is more than she believes she is, but it's mommy saying it, and mommy doesn't know anything. When I hear you guys say to her the same things that I've been saying for a decade or more, and she listens and she hears it, that's a win. That's a huge win. I see such a difference in her since she got in Zilis and she got around you guys that I just can't thank you enough for saving my daughter.
Well,
and if I had to leave her in the world all by herself with a bunch of people, you guys are the ones I want her with. You guys are the ones I want her around.
Oh, Cindy, that's just talking about a win for us.
Yeah.
You know, Lauren is amazing, and so are you, Cindy. And what I love about this group, you guys, and nobody made this up. This is not scripted. This is heart stuff. I mean, this is stuff that you can't get online normally. I mean, it's a mastermind group. It's an amazing group. You guys are part of our win every single day.
Right.
And this call means so much to us. You know, some people have said, you know, why do you still meet, you know, so often with your team? And I'm like, our team is everything to us.
I was like, well, are you kidding me? This is the best part of our business.
This
right
really
here.
is. This is a win for us. And if you are sitting here listening to this call thinking, well, you know, I don't really have a team yet, or I haven't really started building my team yet, or, you know, dang, you know, that Kristen, man, you know, she's really busy and she's having a lot of success, and I haven't had that kind of success. You guys, that is really why you're here. It's that you have this, and all of us have this inside of us. And we also have, there are people in your network that we will never meet. If Kristen didn't put Wendy on the phone with me, I don't know if we would have reconnected. If Laura Curdy didn't put Pam on the phone with me, we wouldn't have connected. And so you have a very special job. And part of just connecting with us, staying plugged in, is that you will learn what that is. It will be revealed to you.
And, you know, Cindy, we're looking at the screen and we know who's on the screen. So, you know, you've got two very important people in your life who are on our call tonight. You got Nikki and you've got Lauren, and maybe more that I just have forgotten about. But nonetheless, we wouldn't be connected to those beautiful women, inside and out, that we just love and adore, without, one person making a decision that I'm going to do this or I'm going to share this. And so, anyway, that's that. So we need to wrap up, and I want to share two things. One, so this is a 5 Sunday month. And so we're first and third. So we're going to have a 2 Sunday skip, right? And then we'll be back with this call on the first Sunday of November, which will be the 6th.
Okay.
Right, of November, is that correct? At least
so.
that's the plan for now. So that's what we can count on. And the other thing I wanted to share is that we've been praying for and concerned about Angela Noble, and we need to continue to pray for our dear friend, precious friend, Angela, right now. And so just want to pass that on for her and her family. She's in a really not good situation with her health. So she would appreciate, they would appreciate, we all would appreciate just prayers for her and her family. That God's will be done, in this time. So anyway,
Well,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine.
And I'm so glad you remember that.
Yeah.
So Cindy, Kristen and Yolanda, let us know when you are in Oxford. We are less than an hour from there. So that's where the mastermind group comes
There's
together.
a small university there too, I think, of some sort.
And then
Some kind of
Rebecca
university in Oxford.
Rebecca says, I didn't know we were meant to cry at these meetings. And it's tears of joy and tears of heartfelt wins, So you guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. I didn't get to say hi to Kimberly Watkins, but she did join.
Hi.
Kim,
Hey,
you're
Kimberly.
Hey,
you're
I'm on. Yeah, I actually wanted to say just a couple things before we hang up.
please.
So like I've been on this myself for a while, and I'm feeling fantastic. And so I'm like, there's a few things around it. Like I've learned I've had some fast starts, and then I've had some people who I just have to plant the seeds, and I'm getting more and more response, and they're like getting more interested. And like sometimes the slow roll works with them, and others, they're just on it right away. But I'm making progress with that. But I will tell you also that like I've provided this to my own daughter, and who deals with, some anxiety and depression. And and Melissa, she's given it to her daughter who has a lot of anxiety. And like they're both having great responses to it. Like my daughter's like, I'm getting up and out and doing things more. And McKenna she's like saying, I feel so much better than I've ever felt. I don't feel anxious as much. I love it. So we're keeping them on it, but I just want you to know that like our daughters are really getting benefit from it. And I'm trying to get a hemp happy hour with my girls around Alpharetta. I'm making it fun, right?
Yeah.
And like I'm starting to get real interest to show up for that, because a lot of them are having some issues. And so they're as I've planted the seeds and they've seen, I've lost 20 pounds, I feel like, off of that.
Wow.
And there's a lot of good things, but I'm learning how to read people as I talk about it. And I'm learning how to just, sometimes you have to take a little slower with some, and then some are ready to go, jump right in. So anyway.
Very exciting. And I'm so glad that you shared that with us, Kimberly. But let me ask you, so what product is your daughter and then the girls using?
And McKenna, we honestly started them on Ultracell.
Okay.
Versus Glow.
Okay.
And just because they're so young and they're both on antidepressants.
Okay.
And we just wanted to like kind of start them out slow. And then I gave my daughter some CBG as well to start pulling that into it. But I've seen a big change in her, and where she was very isolated before, and now she's, getting out there more. McKenna just, and like for Melissa said, she just says, I feel so much better. And so, but she's on Ultracell as well. And
then your product Kimberly, that you're having that 20 pounds of weight loss? What is your product?
From that, I did that from Glow, and I started on CBG, just the drops,
Mhm.
and then now I'm on Shield. But I
Okay.
will tell you, I'm living life normally and I'm maintaining my weight. And
Right.
yeah, like, and it's been 3 or 4 years that I've been trying to lose 20 pounds. And 3 or 4 weeks after I started it, I started dropping weight. And I know you don't like to like claim certain things, but believe me, I've tried a lot of things. So I'm feeling fantastic.
That's wonderful.
Well, we love to hear
So
that.
these are wins, are they not?
These are wins,
know,
man.
Big wins, big
We all
wins.
win together on this team. That's just how it is.
And once you start having those wins, guys, it starts with health, it starts with stories, and I promise you, you just stay consistent with
And
it.
then my friends see it, like, they're like, what are you doing? You look great, and kind of.
Well, we love that you share that, Kimberly. I think the question from Nikki was, had you considered Bliss at all with the girls?
I started them just on the CBD, but I've not tried the Bliss. So I wouldn't see how
Good
that
results.
would
Let's
work.
just
Yeah,
stick with
I
what
would,
it
I
is.
wouldn't
Yeah.
change it at all.
No.
Bliss is just, it's CBC, and that one, some people say is great specifically for anxiety. It's kind of a chill pill, but I wouldn't change
They're
anything.
doing well. I'm just going to keep them on it,
Yeah.
put them
Absolutely.
on, like, just start small. But yeah, so I'm so excited to like even have that story to tell.
Very, very cool, Kimberly.
Absolutely.
Keep sharing it. And just obviously you're on a very powerful team. So we hope that you'll come back and share more
It's
with us.
helping me in a great way. Thank you, Kristen.
Absolutely, Kristen. Kristen's awesome. Thanks to all of you guys. Your stories are very inspiring to us. And you guys are wins. Amazing. So keep the good work up. We'll see you on the Freedom Call with Pets tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Shelley, bring your dog to.
Shelley,
to
bring
the
your
meeting.
dog to the meeting tomorrow. She had a darling little dog there on Zoom.
They're here now. I finally got her to lay down and lay still.
Okay.
We love animals. So thank you so much, guys. Love everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night. Thank you. This was great.
Thank
This
you,
is my
guys.
favorite call.